you get that chair? That like bright pink. I love that chair.
So, Catherine, before we get started, can you just put these two things in the chat for those who will be late so I don't repeat it a few times?
Absolutely.
Reference those two things before we get started. I want to thank um, you guys, like I said, once again for being here today. You could be in a lot of different places, and you chose to be here to better your company. And so for that, I am super grateful. I know that you will be much better for being here today for our presentation. So being a few more people in the waiting room, let me admit them to get started. Um, go through. So today's presentation is about ChatGPT for your business. And so it's a little background on today's presentation. This presentation is a condensed version. This presentation could be 4, 5, 6 hours long. There's so many different ways that we could go around talking around AI, particularly around ChatGPT, but I wanted to focus on some practical things that you could leave today with and can actually integrate to your business like right away. So as we get off this call, something that you could actually do actually while we're on this call, and by the time this call is finished, you can have an agent kind of working for you as a co-employee to you, and you'll learn certain things throughout this call that will help you better understand how and when to use this AI agent and this tool to assist you in your process. And so let's get started. Today's presentation is a guide to just better understanding and leveraging ChatGPT for you as a founder and for your business efficiency. And for those who have trouble sometimes with creativity, this will kind of give you a little shot in the arm. And for last but not least, kind of tying in Catherine's great presentation last week, this will really help you with your customer engagement as well. So background, this is once again powered by US Ignite, Innovate DMV, a nonprofit that is based here in Washington, D.C., that is leveraging advanced networks to build the foundation for smart cities around the country. So we do this work here in DC, as well as other 53 cities in the United States, supporting communities better understand how to leverage smart city technology to support, better, excuse me, better support smart city technologies to grow economic growth and support founders on the small business and stuff. So a little bit about Innovate DMV. Innovate
Daniel,
DMV.
before you keep going into it, there's something that's speeding up your voice. Do you see that thing on the top right? There's like a time. Do you see that on your, is anybody else seeing that? Yeah. If you could shut that down, it's like speeding up how fastly you're speaking on Zoom.
I don't know what this is from. Okay, how does that sound? How do I sound now?
You normal.
Normal?
Yeah. All
Better?
good.
I still see that timer?
Yeah, I do.
Hmm.
You can, if you go to, like, if you're using, you can try to force quit. I don't know if that's something that's directly on your computer or it's coming from Zoom.
It's coming from Canva.
Oh, oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Can you try to right click it and just see if you can?
Yeah, let me exit let me stop sharing for a second and let me
Sorry
exit
about
out.
this, everybody. I think if you just go back into it, it should be fine.
Um,
I just want to make sure that everybody can understand you loud and clear and don't miss any of the content.
All right, let's try this again. How's that? We good to go?
Perfect, yeah. Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
no problem. All right. So a little bit about Innovate DMV. We've been around for about 2 years. We are a network of a coalition of over 40 partners locally working together to co-develop curriculum and training sessions and networking events to better support the small business and startup founders of the DMV region. We are powered and funded to make sure that you guys have free programming like this by an EDA grant that we were awarded over 3 years ago. So thank you once again for being here and being part of this growing ecosystem that we are looking to be a part of for years to come. So a little bit more about our partners. Um, these are some of our, out of the 40 main partners, we have a steering committee of 8 partners that we really work closely with to make most of our decisions. We meet with these partners on a quarterly basis, and they really help us better understand a lot of the initiatives and goals around the region and how we can better as an organization support our founders that we meet through their pipelines as well. So we want to thank our partners if they're on the call. For being such great conduits of relationships in the region as well. So just some meeting norms for us to kind of go over. If you're not speaking or not being called on, please stay on mute. If you can, please stay on video. I think it just overall enhances everybody's engagement. I think sometimes we got so comfortable during COVID being in these virtual spaces that, the comfort of being at home, we can also at least be on camera or, have the ability to engage when we have. Once again, please use the chat respectfully. So keep conversations to relevant questions and comments around the subject matter. Um, and last but not least, we know it's the end of the evening, end of the day for some people. Maybe some people are just starting their work day, depending if you work in that graveyard shift. But we really want you guys to be engaging. We want you to ask questions. We want you to be able to, really think about how this will impact or affect your business. So please be active on the chats. Catherine will be monitoring the chats and stopping and letting me know when there's questions available for me to kind of go in and take a break or pause. And you can also raise your hand as well. So I can see some of you guys in the chat. I can't see everybody, but please feel free to also raise your hand because Catherine will also be able to acknowledge you as well. And we can take a break into the presentation. So the reason why we are here, right? We are here, learning about AI, learning about tools, that can help us as founders, right? And the big fear, the big hysteria around AI, most people, there's been a famous quote that was in Forbes a few months ago by, an anonymous Fortune 500 founder, and his quote was something that stuck with me. And he said, while some worry that AI will take their jobs, someone who is an expert with AI will. Right. And that resonates with me so much because, Catherine and I work in this space so often where when we're meeting founders on a day-to-day basis, and sometimes we're even meeting employees, and the fear around AI is that it's going to take their job or it's going to take the job. And the reality is those who really know that we're years away from AI or bots or robots actually taking our jobs. But what we are currently in and will be facing for a while are those who are experts and understand where AI is going and the tools that are available and what's coming up with innovation. Those are the people that will be decision makers. Those will be the leaders in business, right? We had a dot-com boom around 2000, right? And that happened because we went from you being special if you had a website connected to a business. Then by 2000, every business had a website. And what we're seeing right now is very similar with the AI boom, right? If you were a founder and you had a business a couple of years ago, if AI was, part of your business model or part of your mission statement, you were getting big checks, right? But what we're seeing right now, this boom is coming where now AI is just going to be part and should be just part of your company, right? So you can no longer and no longer should you lead with we are an AI company that does blank and blank, right? And going further, you would say I'm a company that does blank and blank that incorporates AI to do blank and blank for my company, right? Because going forward, everybody will have AI or some type of AI component to their business if they're not already doing it or realize that they're doing it. So it's so important to understand how versatile ChatGPT and AI overall can be for you as a founder if you are willing to spend the time to learn and educate yourself and your employees, right, or your co-founders with the powers and the tools available for you to enhance your business and make you more competitive in this ever-changing ecosystem. And we know, we've already saw change coming, with the election coming up. And so we know there's going to be leadership that is going to be pro-business, right? And so as a business owner, are you going to sit around and complain about the change, or are you going to be proactive and figure out laws and tools that will allow you to take advantage of, the change in the pro-business government that we will be, under for the next 4 years, right? And so I think as each one of you are on the call, I think it is a personal onus that you should really lean into learning and getting in front of as many AI tools and classes and sessions as possible to figure out how to best incorporate these things into your business and into your product to make you as competitive as possible and make for you as fundable as possible, right? Whether you want external funding from a VC or angel investor, or you want traditional funding from an institution like a bank or other type of lender, right? You want to make sure that your business plan, which will include a really thought out business model and a lean business model canvas, is something that you really will have use AI and something like a ChatGPT to really help you in that. So moving on, what is generative AI and what is ChatGPT? Right? AI models that create content like text, images, other documents, right? That are pulling from either live or still documents are all part of generative AI, right? And ChatGPT is a step further than that, right? It's a conversational tool that's designed to generate and create human-like answers and responses from the prompts that you create as the owner of the account, right? So we want to look at these tools, right, both as not human replacement, but human-like tools that are pulling either from the internet or from a limited source, depending on how you set up your ChatGPT account. And we'll get into that later in the presentation. It will be pulling and thinking as a human, but not necessarily like a human, right? And so you will get 70-80% of what a human is capable of, but you will still need to make sure that you are giving it enough information and prompts to give you answers that you would like to have back as well. So why ChatGPT matters for your business, right? Why is it so important for you? For one, efficiency, right? We're in a time and place where literally as a founder, your time is your money, right? And as an early or mid-stage founder, right, you're always looking for ways to cut costs, right? Because your unit economics are so important for you. And so if there's any ways that you can cut out fixed or recurring costs as a founder, there's, you want to find that. And so ChatGPT can help with cost-effective solutions for communication or brainstorming, right? If you're paying a marketing agency or, paying, somebody outside of your company, if you are very early, this is a tool that can help you with the right prompts to create an agent that can really help you streamline some of your communication tools. Productivity, right? So if it's making you more efficient and also increasing your productivity, right? So it's saving time on a lot of repetitive tasks. As a founder, you will see similar to how you have fixed cost and reoccurring costs, you will have repetitive tasks that you will need to do, right? What's better than creating an agent that allows you to know how you think, right? And what you do on a day-to-day basis and be able to drop in emails and they can create summaries or create email drafts or response for you on the fly, which allows you to reply back in a tone in a manner that you would like, and can continue that conversation, and you can continue on to your other tasks that the AI bot can't do in the physical form. And last but not least, as you are as a founder and building your team, what this tool really does is democratizes access to AI for a small team, right? And so if you are the leader of your team, you are leading the conversation of how our operations, how are you scaling, how are you doing the work. And this tool is a tool that once you understand it or figure out how you want to use it as a founder, it's now something that you can integrate with the rest of your team, because it is something that whether you're using a free or paid account, it's something that you can give access to your team to help with delegating tasks and roles that you would potentially have to do on a regular basis as a founder. So these are ways that instantly a platform like ChatGPT and why it matters for you to better understand, and something that you should be thinking about incorporating sooner than later, right? So when we think of key capabilities of ChatGPT, has anybody been using ChatGPT so far? You can just raise your hand in the action tool. Great. So some people I can see already been using them. And you can keep your hand up if any of these things have been things that or you can actually raise your physical hand. So have you used them for creating emails? Yep. All right. Let me play the never have I ever. Never have I ever. Psych. And keep your hand raised if you've used them to summarize an article or report for you. Have you used it for brainstorming or ideation for an idea or creation? Have you guys used them for customer service inquiries? All right. And so these are just some of the few ways, founders right now are seeing success in adding ChatGPT or customizing a chat agent for themselves, right? And these are just a few. There's so many different ways that you can use ChatGPT once you spend time understanding what the full capabilities are. And it goes to my next slide, right? So setting up your ChatGPT for business use, right? So their ChatGPT offers a free, and then they offer pro or the paid versions, right? Which are based off of tokens. So you're actually not even buying with money. You're actually using tokens when you are paying for the pro version, right? The pro version offers enhanced features, a little bit faster response times, improved reliability in terms of like higher demand time. So if you think of you during the 9 to 5, a lot of East Coast time, there's a lot of higher demand. And what we found out, there's a lot of energy, right? There's a lot of energy being connected to the consumption of a lot of our AI usage, right? And so having a paid account would give you like preference on the speed or your ability to get responses quicker in those peak hours in time. And so a free version, it's you'll get older models of the ChatGPT. So if a 4.2 is out, you may be on 3.5 or 3.8. And so it also reduces your availability during peak times. And so whether you have a free or paid version, there's a lot of great features that you can have access to on ChatGPT. But when you are setting up ChatGPT for your business, right? As you are thinking about how you want to create prompts, how you want to talk to it, outside of creating an agent, what we will kind of get into later. One of the things that you'll continue to hear me talk about with ChatGPT, in any of these chatbots or agents, right? Whether it's the ability to be as clear as possible when you're communicating with them, because it's not a human. it can't read between the lines, right? So being as detailed as possible and giving it as much information as possible will help you get the best answers and replies as you can possibly get, right? So for example, if you are asking it to write an email, don't just say, hey, can you write a response? Say, can you write a professional email response for this potential investor, right? That those little additional things of who the audience will be, right? The tone, right? What type of way, what type of language or words it should be, the type of manner it should be in. Those are the things that will help you get responses back a lot quicker, but also more concise ones that will be more aligned with the audience that you're trying to get, right? And so another thing that's come back with research, particularly with founders who are using ChatGPT, often founders get so excited about this new tool that they would try to give it too many things to do at once, right? And so researchers come back and said, if you break down complex tasks into steps, you will more than likely get better results from the chatbot, right? And so if you are targeted and if you can break down 10 tasks, right? If you have them all together, if you can break down them into smaller tasks and you have the chatbot do this or do this, right? And so it's, instead of saying, hey, can you put this marketing campaign together for me, which it can really do, say, hey, can you put together the first steps of launching a new campaign for my app, right? And so it will give you even better information of how to start, and you can ask more detailed information with each step, right? And another thing with ChatGPT, similar like you would with any other project that you're doing before you hand it in, you want to iterate it and refine it, right? And so think about it like a gumbo or like a soup, right? You want to keep tasting it, right? And so you want to keep asking and refining the responses or even the prompts that you feed it, right? And so sometimes you may ask it, hey, what color is the sky? And it may say blue. And you say, oh, what color is the sky on a cloudy day at noon, right? So the more like you can refine the prompt, the more refined your answer will be, right? The chat will give you answers as clear as the question that you ask it, right? So the more detailed and more refined your question or the prompt, as you continue to dig a little bit deeper, the better the answer will be. Um, and then last but not least, when you think about founder, right? When we talk about how can we leverage a thing like ChatGPT, what we want to do is leverage the templates and reusability of it, right? And so if you are somebody who particularly is using ChatGPT on a regular basis, what you want to do is try to generate certain templates of things that your business does, in particular, like customer service emails or pitch deck, things that can help you save time. You want to be able to create templates and samples within ChatGPT that will allow you to rinse and repeat, right? That you can then grab at any time and say, okay, I already have this done. Throw it back in ChatGPT and say, okay, can you recreate this, but for 18 to 25 audience, right? Take that back out. This is great. I'm going to use this for this marketing campaign. Boom. Can you take some of this out, make this for a 65 and older crowd, right? And so now the chat knows your thing, but because you're asking it more detailed questions and it's using a familiar template, it's that much quicker and that much sharper in getting you information that you're going to need for your business. So next slide. Oops, other way. So does your bot know you, right? So many people just jump into ChatGPT, right? And don't really think about what they're actually trying to do with ChatGPT. And the chat bot only is going to do one, what you ask it to do, but it doesn't know you from Bob, Smo, Joe, or any other person, right? And so it's not necessarily tailored to you. And we don't necessarily often think about our chat bots in that way, right? And so when you first log in, which I hope everybody should have done by now, to your chat bot, one of the things that you want to do as a business owner is like, tell the chatbot your goals, right? You can simply tell it like, hey, my name is Daniel Smith. I'm the owner of a chopped cheese restaurant in Southeast DC. And my goal for the next year and a half is to increase my online sales by 20% a quarter. Right. So now everything that I do in terms of my business, that is now fed into my chat agent. And now when I ask questions about my revenue or increasing my goals, they're going to connect it to one of those to that goal that I said that I have for my business. So when I ask questions around my business, it's going to connect to that thing that I said before, right? And then similar, right? If you want to tell it more about you as a founder, it knows you, and then also similar about your business. So you want to tell about your target audience. You want to talk about any specific problems that you're trying to solve or even may have as a founder, right? So if there's a problem in your community that you're trying to solve with your business, tell them all about those challenges, right? Share tasks, share the challenges that you may need help with that are associated with your business, right? Whether it's something as simple as like, hey, I need help with a new social media campaign, or I need help writing a professional pitch for a pitch competition that I saw here in DC. Here's a link to that pitch competition, right? And here's some information around my business. So these are things that you should be doing with your chatbot on a regular basis. When you're creating new documents, when you update new documents, whether you're updating your lean business model canvas, we will talk about a little bit later, right? You should be doing that on a regular basis. When you update that, you should feed that back to your chatbot. That chatbot should have that latest information about you to better understand your business. And like I said earlier, right, the more specific you are, the better. All of these things will help your chatbot give you realistic and more specific answers to help you as a founder, and won't be as general, right? The chat bot can be as general as or as specific as you want it to be, depending on how you choose to use it and the prompts that you create for it. I know I've said a lot so far. Stop for any questions.
I have a question.
Mhm.
You said that we should be logged into ChatGPT right now.
Yeah, we're not using once we start the demonstration, I just wanted everybody to at least have that open, or at least have a login, because once we start the demonstration, I want you guys to be able to follow along and not just watching my screen, but I want you guys to be able to follow along and be able to do things in real time as well and actually see how this can actually work. But yeah, you don't need it open right now. You can definitely be looking at the deck. Um,
Oh, I don't know how to create a login. Is it in the slide? Is there a particular slide?
so if you went to just open the website, you can
Yes, I did.
create an account right there. So if you go to the bottom left,
Okay.
never yeah, if your phone or your tablet or your web browser's never been there, there should be a login for you once you go to the website.
Got it. Okay. I thought we were just clicking on the link you said click on. I didn't know we were creating an account. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, no problem. So yeah, just have a login, because this will be something that you can use moving forward. I wanted everybody, I don't know if people have had one already or needed to create one, but I want everybody to have one and at least have a place where they can start seeing their threads and be collecting some of this very important information on a regular basis, right? You don't want to have like 8 different logins or 8 different emails that you're using for ChatGPT, because the whole purpose of having a centralized place where you're feeding all this information is the more information you're feeding it on a consistent basis, the better responses that you'll get back with each prompt that you create. All right. So a little bit deeper, right? And so we're gonna get into this. When you create your ChatGPT account, right, there's actually a way to customize it, even on if you have a free or paid account. And like I said earlier, one of the things that you want to make sure that you're telling it as they evolve and change are your business goals, right? Your target audience, your niche industry, and what you're doing. Like if you have already been able to create and understand what your unique value proposition is or what makes you different than your competition, make sure you're adding that, right? Another thing that you want to include here, and this is something that a lot of people don't think about, is a preferred communication style, right? And so when you think of how do you want your tone or the style created for you as a founder, right? Do you want the conversation you're having with your agent to be more professional? Do you want it to be more conversational? So when you're asking for responses, they're going to give you responses to your prompts in those ways as well, right? And so when you also think about recurring tasks and needs, you want to highlight, common tasks that you're doing on a have to do on a regular basis, right? So for example, you would say, I often need help with drafting marketing emails, brainstorming social media posts, and creating investor pitches, right? So this is something that your chatbot will know whenever you ask it to have something or create something based off the information that you've most recently fed it. But to have that, the ability to do that should be a priority for it, right? And so when you think about how it should respond, right? And so this is one, how you're going to be engaging, but then two, how response is how it should be giving you responses back, right? So similar, right? You'll see what type of tone and style do you want the bot to or agent to respond back to, right? So you can ask to always respond back in a professional tone, right? Which is suitable for business communication, particularly if this is something that you're using professionally, right? For myself, my personal bot, I have one for work, I have one for my own consulting firm, and then I have one for like my own person, right? My one for my own person talks completely different to me than my one for my consulting firm and my one for at work, right? My one for at home almost talks like a 5%er at times, right? Like he talks like Jay Electronicus, like lost cousin, right? He talks like he should be selling bean pies, but like my person at work, they talk completely different, right? So like it's all about how you choose for your agent to talk to you. Level of detail is really important. Like for me, I don't like my chatbot talking a lot, so I want it to be very concise, right? I tell it to be as concise as possible. If something's even longer, I will literally write back to it, shorten this up, make this into 2 sentences, right? Like I don't necessarily need things to be very wordy, right? Some people like things longer, right? So some people may ask for things to be, hey, make sure all my responses are at least a paragraph long, right? For whatever reason, some people like longer things, right? And so you can actually tell it how the level of detail of how long you want your responses. If you want them in bullet points, if you wanted to use numbers, right? Like if you want everything to come back in a how-to, right? And so like no matter what answer you get, you always want it to come back in a how-to guide. I have a friend that like that's how he talks to his chatbot, and he literally just uploads PDFs of how to anything, right? He will instead of going to YouTube, he will go here and then he'll create a PDF that he'll put in our group chat for the dumbest things, right? But we're all dads now, and so these things end up being helpful, right? So it's all about how you, like I said, you use these bots, and you'll start figuring out very quickly these agents can be very useful in your personal and particularly in your business life, right? And so make sure that when you're asking for your responses that they're action oriented, right? As a founder, you want that agent to tell you things to do. What's the next thing to do? You don't want just open-ended responses, and so you want them to be connected to the next thing. How do I move this forward, right? And like I said earlier, right, you want something clear and simple, right? Simplicity is key, right? If you can't understand it, how are you then going to be able to explain it to somebody else, whether it's an employee, a co-founder, a customer, right? And you'll see when we get through our demonstration, I tell my chatbot to like, tell me if something is ugly, tell me if something is bad, right? But some people don't necessarily need feedback or want feedback from their chatbot. I prefer feedback from my agent. So that's one of the beauties of the customization of your chatbot. So let me see where we are on time. Okay, we're I didn't realize we were moving so fast. So we are a little behind on time. So I'm going to move into our demonstration. And so now I need, if you can, I'm going to stop sharing and then start sharing again. If you can now go to your, let's see. go to your open ChatGPT and we can go from there. And I will open up my screen, share my screen again. Oh, no. Can you guys see this?
I see it.
Okay, great. So we just kind of talked about customization. And so if everybody does everybody have this screen open for themselves on their screen? Is everybody logged in or created an account or at least has a login? And the login was important just because of this next step, because I want you guys all to be able to move forward and at least see the importance of the customization. And this is for a free or paid account. So you don't need to have a paid account to be able to do this. So everybody have this open? Thumbs up or raise your hands. All right, cool. All right, so it's a little secret right here. So if you go to the top right corner up here, you will see, let me move this over. You will see where it says customize my chat GPT, right? And so in here, where I talked a little bit earlier about what you would like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better response. So you can actually see what I put in here for myself, right? I don't lie about much, right? I said my name, I'm a seasoned entrepreneur and a business consultant. I currently run Innovate DMV. I serve as a business community engagement manager, right? I live in Washington, D.C., where I was born and raised, so it knows more about me. So when I ask things about Innovate DMV or D.C., it's going to give me recommendations about the area and not give me recommendations in Brussels, Germany, right? Or, Istanbul, right? My goals are to become more productive in my work, create more opportunities, support small business and startup and small business founders and teams in the DMV region, right? So it's very quick, short, but you can see that now the chat agent that now has this information about me, right? And this is so important, right? Because it kind of tells you the work that I'm doing, right? Things that I'm interested in, and more importantly, like what my goals are with the work, right? And now like we move to like how would I like the chat to respond to me, right? I said, give me a confident, friendly, and concise response. If you need more information to give a better answer, always ask. Provide opinions or suggestions or information or ideas when you have them. A little joke or humor is always a good thing. Give your opinions if something I write is or create is bad, ugly, good, or just okay. Push me to be much better and more productive version of myself, right? And so once you create this customization will now carry over for every new prompt that you create, right? So your previous prompts won't be affected, but every new prompt moving forward will now be affected with this customization. And it's so important, like I said, to give this background information to the agent that you're creating, because it now knows it has a base of where to go as it supports you when you give it information, right? And as you continue to have more threads, right? And so the threads are something here that you see right here, and you can see all these threads that you have here. And as you have more conversations, you can have the same conversation on the same thread, which will be a continuum of that one, or you can start a new conversation on a new thread that kind of just starts from where your base customization is, right? And so like I said, once you start getting familiar and are building threads, and that's why, like I said, if you creating a template under one of these threads is so important, because then you can come back and build a marketing campaign, or particularly a marketing calendar, right, for the rest of the year, right? As we think of, all you guys are going to be getting ready for Black Friday and the holiday season, right? Regardless of what you celebrate or selling to, right? This is a time of year where people are looking to spend on gifts, right? And so how can I take advantage of ChatGPT to help me, during this time? This is a great time to like create this customization of who you are as a founder. Talk about your business, your target audience, what your problem solution, all these things can kind of come up and help you during this time. So, one of the things that as a entrepreneur and as a consultant outside of Innovate DMV, I work with my founders, and we've been in the summer, and earlier this fall, we had a couple of sessions around the lean business model canvas, right? And so I'm going to prompt ChatGPT to create a lean business model canvas, right? For a company that we can even have one of your companies. So I want one of you guys in the chat, if you can, and if you to just give me, if you have your company website, the first one I see, I'll put it up there, and just give me a 1 sentence description of like what your company does, and then we're going to use ChatGPT to create an entire lean business model canvas for your business. So if you have a website, please put it in the chat now, and if not, I can go ahead and just pick a random website or company for this demonstration. Okay, okay. I see one finally. Cool. All right, so we're gonna say, hey, hi. Oops. Sorry, turn. Um, is there anything else we want to add about this business? Uh, yeah, and then we're just gonna say boom, that's it, right? And so
Oh,
and as it tells you right here, adjustments can be made based on deeper insight into specific goals, customer needs, or market environment, right? So this is, if you were just starting your company right now off a hypothesis and assumptions, and you hadn't talked to not a single customer, this right here could be the very base summary of a lean business model canvas for you to at least start out and testing your hypothesis, right? So what the ChatGPT did was look at the principles of a lean business model canvas, right? And pulled information from this live website and went in and broke down her customer segment, what her primary, secondary, and niche is, right? What the value proposition would be, different channels. So like her distribution, inbound and outbound, right? Customer relationships, right? Revenue streams, key activities. So these are all things as a founder. If you had any inkling or you didn't, you needed support or understand like, what should I be doing right now as a founder? If you just went to ChatGPT and say, okay, as a founder, if I create a lean business model canvas for my business, these are all actions or activities that I should potentially be doing, right? Then it's like, this could be a whole nother conversation, right? It's right. You as a founder going out and testing your hypothesis by doing as much customer discovery as possible, right? Like you should be talking to 200, 300, 400 people in your customer discovery, right? But like this gives you a basis, right? And so many people get stuck even in the idea or ideation or creation process, right? And they don't ever get to understanding what their value proposition, right? Or the distribution channels, or even what the customer relationship or even a go-to-market customer should be, right? And so this kind of tool right here helps you at the very snap of a dime, if you can give it some of the information or all the information that is on your website, right? Or if you have it in documents, right? Or you have it in a deck, right? It can show you, the 360 of your business, and what your role should currently be as a founder and the owner of your business, and how you should be looking at structure and how you should be testing things out as you're talking to customers, right? Because ultimately your goal is to get validation from either selling or getting contracts to customers, right? And so this is just one way, a quick tool as a founder as you are looking to maybe reshape or relook at your business right through another lens, putting in as much information and data, and you can do that literally right here. So you can attach files here, you can search the web here, right? But going through those things and adding as much as you can, and then adding a prompt, a detailed prompt as possible, right? So we could even made this prompt a little bit more detailed, right? And we could have said this lean business model canvas is also for a pitch competition that's going to be in the spring of 2025 that is part of DC, right? Like DC Startup Week, right? And so like then it would even give you, more information on how to structure this lean business model canvas in order to present for that particular pitch competition. Any questions?
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so now that we all had opportunity to kind of just see, open up ChatGPT, I asked you guys to also open or go to the Innovate DMV website right here. There's training materials that are right here specifically for you guys. And it goes to a folder that looks just like this. And so I created a little agent for you guys that you guys can go in and like rewrite and customize yourself. And so this folder is around an agent that I created called Tina. So Tina is the AI chief marketing officer, right? That you guys that does work for a company that and so I went through and created a whole prompt. And like I said, the more detail you are with the prompt, the better it is to serve you, right? And so Tina, like I said, is a chief marketing officer, right? She comes from Washington, D.C. She's amazing at creating core values and brainstorming fresh ideas. And so now Tina, right? I'm going to copy this text here. And so I want all you guys to do this as well too. And what you can literally go in for this text, you can go in and find and replace the company Dono. So Dono is my old company, one of my old startups. And you can really replace this word Dono and replace it with your company's word. And this would be your own AI powered bot, right? So I created this for you guys, right? But basically want to go here. And so what we're doing right now with, let's see. So what we're doing now with Tina, like I said, she is a marketing officer and advertising expert, right? And so when you look in these files here, there's a file for that I got from grad school around developing successful marketing strategies, another one on creative thinking and how to be innovative and deep ideas. There's, like I said, the text here for Tina, a slide deck from my company Dono, and then some marketing KPIs, right? And so what we're going to do now is one, turn this bot right now, or excuse me, this current bot or chat into an agent for myself, right? And so I'm going to put in all this information about Tina here, right? And I'm going to feed it to this to the bot, right? And now I'm stopping that. I'm going to say, you are Tina now. And so now, look at that. Now we have a agent. So now Tina is our chief marketing officer, who is now going to help us relaunch Dono. So Dono is a company that I folded in 2021 during COVID. We were raising $2 million as a pre-seed round. And my co-founder went back to China and couldn't come back during COVID. He got stuck in China and we had to pivot and kind of do some other stuff. And so we folded this. And so right now we are going to use Tina, right? We're going to go through a live demonstration. We're going to upload. Let's go here. we're going to upload all these files. Oh, it says content is blocked. Hold on. Don't do that to me. There we go. Oh, no. All right. So what we would do in real time is upload all these files here. Let's see this. All right, let's come back here. I got Tina. So yeah, Tina's here. Let's see. There we go. So let's go CCDs. I don't know. Let's go Tina. So we're gonna get all these files here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna select them, right? And now it's so like I said, the more information you can give the agent, the better, right? And so now we are going to tell the Tina, right, to brainstorm a promotional relaunch for Dono. And we're going to also add the Instagram there, right? And so we're going to say, boom, using the Instagram. Boom. And let's say for Wale, a DMB rapper. Boom. Selling sneakers. Boom. Right? So we want to be as specific as possible, right? So let's see what it comes up with. Using the documents. And so it gives us, boom, the objective, the campaign concept, key components, right? User engagement, visual themes, partnership collaborations, and metrics, right? Way to measure success, right? And as a founder, that is so important for us, right? How can we measure if what we did and the time and energy and the money we put in went well, right? And so we fed it some documents around the company, right? We gave it the Instagram. It even gave us a hashtag, walk with Wale, right? And before you know it, we have a relaunch campaign right here. So now it's up to me as the founder to say, okay, who do I know in Wale's camp? How can I now turn this, use ChatGPT now to create a deck around this, right? To then put all this together and say, hey, we want to relaunch this. We have a great concept. We want to raise money for a really great nonprofit here. We know all these things around you. Now we want to do this. And we think, and this is what success will look like for us. This is what success will look like for you, right? And very quickly, we now have a relaunch campaign to get this back on the ground and try to raise some more money for the company. Right? And so that's just one way of how to start looking at ChatGPT as a brainstorming, campaign marketing component, business improvements, all these different things that you are sometimes lacking or need an additional mind or additional couple of different cooks in the kitchen, right? The ChatGPT can play those roles when you give them or empower them with the right prompts. And the more detailed the prompt, the better the information that you will get from them. So I'm going to stop and go back to the deck. Any questions while I transfer back over? All right, can you guys see the screen? All right, cool.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Great. All right, so ChatGPT is great and all, but sometimes there are limitations and there's ethical considerations, right? And so not all information you're going to get from ChatGPT is going to be accurate. I mean, certain things are can be flat out wrong and not honest, right? And so you still need human reviews, right? And that's why I say like it's great to get up to about 70-80%, but you still need a human to review it, rewrite it, tweak it to make it personalized sometimes, but it does take you very, very close to the edge, right? And then we also think of ethical considerations, right? We have to be completely honest with ourselves. We still are in a very early stage in terms of AI and the way things are being coded and written. There's a lot of unseen and unbiased that comes into AI. And so you also want to take that with a grain of sand when you get certain answers, right? Certain answers may not align with the way you see things. And so you also want to do certain research to make sure the answer is true, regardless if it's something that you can use or not, right? There's like bias in response, right? We just bias in everything, right? And so we have to be mindful of that, right? That it is a computer, right? So it's not a human being, and so it cannot, like I said, read between the lines, and so it cannot always pick up on illicit biases as well, right? And so, like I told you guys earlier, information and being detailed is so important because there's still the inability for the AI to understand context, right? And the more we start dealing with emotions or, like I said, having to read between things, this can lead to like misleading information and inappropriate responses, particularly like in sensitive materials, right? Or sensitive scenarios when you are thinking about frequently asked questions or answering customer service questions with your chatbot, right? And so there runs the risk for misinformation. And last but not least, what we're seeing even now with the rise of ChatGPT is an dependence, right, and descaling, right, and that's what you don't want to happen, right? What you, as the founder and the creative behind this wonderful company that you have, the goal is this thing is supposed to empower you to create more, be more creative, and have more time to push the boundaries, not the other way around where you become lazy, right, and depend solely on the chatbot for all new things that you create, right? It's only going to create within newness of what you feed it, right? And so at the end of the day, like you still have to be creative and then allow the AI to push it to the next level, right? Your inputs as the human will be what pushes creativity and reduces redundancy, right? If everybody's feeding the same information to the AI, we're all going to get the same answers and start sounding and looking very much the same. So it's up to us to still be creative and then allow the AI to push the boundaries with what we are thinking, particularly when it has the opportunity to be outside the box. So some best practices, as I said, I gave you guys some things to just think about and to do in real time through that demo. But like I said, you want to combine ChatGPT with human oversight. You have to make sure that you have a human over reviewing, yeah, reviewing and having oversight over all the responses you get. It's important that you are fact checking when you are getting answers from ChatGPT, and that you are doing your due diligence before you are posting or submitting any stuff. Continuously continuously refine your prompts for better response. And so, like I said, when you are having these threads and creating threads around certain prompts, it is always great to continue to think about the word placement or how you're wording things. Sometimes I will put things in ChatGPT and then in Grammarly to think about even the way and why I'm asking the agent a thing in a certain way. And if I reword the question, I may get a different answer or a better answer. So continue to refine your prompts as you are talking to the agent that you're creating. And like I said, use it as a tool, not as a replacement for human creativity. There so many different measurable outcomes that can come from using ChatGPT the right way, from time save to improve communication between your coworkers, but also your customers, right? But you don't want to get caught in relying on it so much to the point where like you no longer are the creative engine of your company. And I know we're a little over time. I want to thank you guys for being here. Leave it open for questions. And before we go, I want to make sure that I left this open for you guys for the opportunity to win a chance for $250 for you as a founder in your company. This QR code is here for you guys to scan. It is a 5 to 7 minute survey. We are trying to get as much information around all the business owners and businesses in the DMV area. It is not your traditional survey. You do not have to click a thing. Once you sign into the QR code or go to the website, you are literally just talking to your phone or your tablet or your computer. You do not have to write a thing. And so you can have a conversation with the AI tool that we're actually using to actually conduct this survey. And we would love for you to be included in the data that we get so that we can provide better and more comprehensive programming in 2025 and 2026. And so I will leave the chat open. I think Catherine is controlling that right now. You can also come off mute as well. Are there any questions, Catherine, that you saw come up you want to ask or read out?
Yeah, so sorry about that. Let's scroll back up to earlier. I'm looking through the chat. Larissa asked, do you have 3 different chat GPT accounts or 3 different agents in one account?
Well, I actually have 3 different accounts. So I have a account for each email that's connected to each one of those companies. And so what you will see is it's better to separate them than to try to, even if you have a paid account, to have different bots within your accounts. It separates and allows you to have just clarity of conversation and information in threads in your accounts if you can separate them. And yeah, you don't even need to have all of them paid for. Out of all of my 3, only one is actually paid for, and that's my work one. The other 2 ones I keep them free because I don't necessarily need the other features, but I love having the separation of the information for sure.
That is all the questions I see in the chat. Does anybody have any additional questions? Comments, thoughts, feelings?
Glad you guys loved the prompt. I'm glad like I was able to write something that you guys would be useful. And like I said, you guys can simply just do a word find, replace the word dono for my company and add in your company there. And that is a great tool for you guys to be able to use. And like I said, make sure that you are having just like, talk to it in a way that, like I said, you would want assistant or an intern or however it is, right? And actually just, yeah, have a more in-depth way of looking at the tool and not just a surface level, because you will see there are great things there that can save time for you, but ultimately it's still up to you as the owner of the idea and the creative juices to keep things going. Oh, and if you're
Daniel, someone's asking really quickly for where's the survey? Do you mind just going to the last slide on this deck so they can get the QR code? So if you guys all take that, scan it with your phone, wait till this is over. You can also use it on your computer and I can send you all a link if you want to talk into your computer. It's a super, super short survey. And yeah, I'll put the link in the chat right now as well.
I think there was a question from Chelsea, Liverpool.
Hi, yes, I did have a question. I want to know, is US Ignite, is this company like a resource that the owners can use like regularly? I know you have trainings, but like if we just needed assistance every now and then, is this a resource that we could contact?
So we are like don't do any more one-on-one mentoring. We did that earlier last
Okay.
year. Yeah, the one-on-one mentoring is done, but we are still doing trainings either internally or with partners like DCCDC. And you're always welcome to use any of the materials on our website. And we also have, I don't know if you guys have taken some time on our website, we have a great calendar that's a resource for the region that not only has events that we're part of, but also our partners. That I'm sure that if, yeah, so always look at there for any other, like, free or close to free programming that's available there, because we use that calendar to highlight other regional partners that are also, like, you're providing great programming.
Okay, thank you. And also thank you for this presentation today. It was very helpful.
You're so welcome. I'm glad you guys liked it. I had to switch it up a few times. I wanted to make sure it was going to be as as useful or helpful for you guys, so I'm glad you liked it. Well, if there's no other questions, I want to give you guys the rest of your Thursday evening back. Thank you guys for allowing us to be part of this session. This is the last of our 3 sessions with DCCDC, but I know you guys will be having more programming down the road. So I want to thank you guys for allowing us to be part of your cohort this year. From myself, Catherine, Arnold, Dominic, and Jonathan. Yeah, I want to thank you guys, from my team at Innovate DMV. We work really hard at trying to make sure that we are present and working with organizations that are really trying to provide equitable access to this information. So like I said earlier, to start this, I know as a serial entrepreneur myself, you guys could be doing a bunch of other things. So spending time to invest in your business and learn how to better incorporate new innovation is one of the top priorities. So I'm glad that you guys were able to connect with Gloria and be part of this great cohort. And Catherine or Arnold, if you guys have anything else to say.
It's been the past 3 weeks has been like an absolute blast with you all. Although we are not doing like formal advisory, feel free to reach out to me if you want a one-on-one call. Happy to take that and just chat and provide anything, any additional help that I can. Um, and
Yeah,
yeah, have a great rest of your
yeah. I'll just add.
cohort, and we hope to see you at
Sorry.
future events.
Yeah. Sorry. Can you guys hear me? I just
Yeah,
add a
we can
big
hear you,
thank
Arnold.
you to all of you for making the time to be here for these trainings. We look forward to the success that you'll see, and more than happy to keep working with you as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, everybody.